I think last week, we talked about the first game of the year, and the first game of the year is always about controlling the things you can control and, worrying about your team more than the opponent. And again, it's the case this week as well. That's where we are right now in this program. That's probably where we'll always be, is worrying about yourself. And, that's a challenge. We talked about last week, the plan to win is always the same, regardless of who you're playing. It's turnovers, it's kicking game, and it's no self-inflicted mistakes. And that may not sound real exotic or real sexy, but that's what it is. So that last one's over. Obviously, it's a chance to go play against a really good opponent. Another chance to just see where we are right now in this process. But figuring out a way to do those things in a different location against different caliber players, against a different caliber team, that's the challenge. So, it's always about ourselves and figuring out what we can do and what we're going to look like, regardless of the situation. You guys have probably been around Texas football. I've had the opportunity. I guess this will be the 12th time I've played against them. Plus I've done a lot of their games. I did their game at UCLA last year. A couple years ago, I did Ohio State at Texas, which is one of the biggest games in the country. So I've seen that program not only as a coach, coaching against them, but also going in there firsthand and being around the place. And, I have tremendous respect for them. Mac Brown is one of the best guys that I've been around. I mean, he's a real guy. What you see, how he comes across is exactly how he is. I've always enjoyed every opportunity I've had to be around he and his family. The other thing he's done is he's hired really good assistant coaches. You look at it, he had a bit of a turnover a couple years ago. He went and hired some of the youngest, most innovative, progressive coaches in the country. He got Brian Hartzell from Boise State, Manny Diaz from Mississippi State, who was with Dan Mullen, who coached for me at Notre Dame. Two really sharp young coordinators. So everybody knows about the talent level. Obviously, they recruit as well as anybody in the country. But it's a double-edged sword, because not only that, but they're very progressive coaching on offense and defense. I mean, they're kind of cutting edge. They move around a lot. They do a lot of different things. Special teams, Dwayne Akina has been there for a long time. They're one of the best punt block teams in the country. But it's exciting. It's exciting again when you go into a place like University of Texas. There's 100,000 people there. But at the end of the day, they have field turf just like we have field turf. And it's going in there trying to control and control the things we do. But I'm excited about going. Health-wise, I think we're going to be pretty good. Freddie Young has a contusion on his thigh that he really didn't notice Saturday. It swelled up Saturday night. He's limping around a little bit. DeMarcus Rogers has a contusion on his knee. I think he's going to be okay. But other than that, we're going over there. We're going to try to play just about everybody we take, play a lot of players, get them exposed to that situation. Again, it's not, to me, how we look 5 days from now. It's how we look 5 years from now. And that may be unheard of in this profession. Maybe I'm naive, but, it's not 5 days, it's 5 years. And that's the reality of where we are. That's not a bad way to approach it. So every decision we make is really based on the long haul and doing the right things. I'm encouraged. It's exciting what a new playing surface can do. When I first came in here, you got to give all the credit to Paul Krebs. I came in and he actually asked me about my opinion on surfaces, and I was about 50-50. I really love grass. Coached on grass, loved the whole atmosphere of it. So I was okay either way. But it's amazing what that surface out there has done for this stadium. Walking in here, not going back to Saturday, but just big picture, walking in here, looking at that stadium from the other end. You know, we had the Lobo walk. You know, it looks like a new stadium to me. It's amazing what that can do. It's also amazing what winning a game can do. You really see it with these players, how energized they are from it. Obviously, our eyes are wide open, but you know, pretty good start. And now we got to go try to do it on the road for the next 3 weeks. So any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Coach, is there anything different you can do this week in practice to prepare your players for that kind of atmosphere?
I don't think so. You know, it is a great atmosphere to play in. You know, it's not necessarily the Southeastern Conference kind of atmosphere where you can't get the ball snapped and it's so loud you can't this and you can't that. I think particularly for us, you know, coming in there, I don't think crowd noise is really going to be a big issue. So we're not going to do anything. You know, I've never been a big fan of trying to stimulate that in practice a whole lot. You know, we'll walk through, you know, we'll go in there Friday night and just go through the stadium because I doubt many of our guys have been in that stadium before. But, you know, it's a great opportunity. There's no question we're going to recruit in the state of Texas. You know, we signed 12 players last year. We've got a lot of coaches on this staff with really strong ties to the state of Texas. We've got a lot of players currently on our team. You look, 2 true freshmen from Texas scored touchdowns out here for us. Carlos Wiggins and Cranston Jones. That's 2 freshmen scoring touchdowns in their first game from that state. So we're not going to do anything different. Again, the focus is really on what we can do and what we're going to look like, and not putting a whole lot of thought into that.
Coach, how tough is it to make sure that the guys keep that right contact?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's pretty simple. They know. You know, last year they went to Arkansas the second game. The third game they played Texas Tech at home. This year we go to Texas, and then we go to Texas Tech. So they know, you know, this isn't the first time for the guys that have been here playing against this caliber of team. For our younger guys, they're probably so naive, they probably haven't thought about it much. They probably don't realize that it is different. So I'm not going to say much about that. You know, our eyes are open. You know, our whole thing is try to improve. As simple as that sounds. And you know what? Obviously, the results, the things aren't going to look like they look Saturday, but we can still improve. And as long as we look closely at everything that happens, you know, improvement is the key for us. So many things. You know, first of all, I think defensively, you know, I was really disappointed. You know, we don't have, and we're kind of like this as a team, you know, we don't have a bank of fundamentals and a bank of things that we've done for a long time. You know, I'm used to, you've been doing these same things over and over. And even in the off season, you know, whether it's special teams techniques, defensive techniques, offensive techniques, it takes time to just get guys to do things the way you want them to do it. So there's no bank there. So we get so sloppy, you know, it's so frustrating, and you want to get it fixed like right now, and you become frustrated. And you have to take a deep breath and realize they haven't been doing it that way. You know, so just fundamentals of how we line up, what our footwork looks like, how we're coached. You know, it's been a frustrating couple days after looking at that tape that we don't look anything near like we should look. You know, and I know we're going to get exposed, and it's trying to get that solved in a short time without being so frustrated that you create such a negative attitude. It's going to take time to get things done the way we want to do it, and more from just a technique. You know, I don't care who's in there. It's everybody should be able to play technique and play fundamentals and look like they're coached. And right now we don't look that way. Honestly, we don't look that way to me, and that frustrates me. So fundamentals, you know. We're going to work as hard as we can, and we're going to keep plugging at it. And you know, as soon as we can get it corrected, we're going to get it corrected. But it's kind of building on a foundation of something. And right now, I just don't feel like we have that foundation when I really look at the tape. Special teams, we're getting it a little bit. Offense, we have it a little bit. Defense, we have to make bigger strides, and we've got to get better. And you know, but again, that's why I say, you know, we all want it right now, and it's not going to happen right now. There's some things we should be better at right now, and that's the things I want to see us improve on. And just keeping a big picture to what this big thing is of how we're building this thing without overreacting to things.
Knowing you're going to be exposed, are you reluctant at all to play the young guys?
No.
Actually get them that playing time?
Not at all. Opposite of that. Opposite of that. You know, I want us to get exposed to it. I want to get young guys in there. I want to play them. Again, that will only help us. You know, again, I said this, and it probably gets taken the wrong way. I'm not afraid to lose a game, honestly, if it means not building the foundation of this program. So we're going to play them. We're going to play young guys. We're going to expect the same things out of the young guys as the old guys. We're going to teach guys how we want them to do it, and we're going to put them in there, and we're going to expect them to do it. You know, if Texas is that much talented than us, I don't know if they are or they aren't. I imagine they probably are. But they can do it the way we want to do it, and we'll be realistic about it. But we're not going to, you know, we're going to play them, or we're going to do the things we expect them to do, and let's go. I don't even talk about that. I don't even talk about that. You know, it's no different to me than it was against Southern or Texas. It's just doing what we are coached to do, and are we asking them to do things they're capable of doing? You know, we take our guys. What can these guys do? Are we asking them to do the things they're capable of, and then they have to do it? That's all. You know, if we can control what we look like, I can't control Texas. So, you know, a lot of times it's not the win or loss. It's the you know, it's the process of it. It's the process of it, of just doing it the right way, and then the results will come. Oh, yeah. I mean, from where we started, I mean, just watch our pregame warm-up. Just watch how our kids look in their uniforms. Just see how they act on the sidelines. Sure, I see all the process, but I know now we're against the clock. I mean, I know what's coming. You know, and there's no question the process is starting. There's no question about that. That's a tough question. Now, you're getting too philosophical on me right there. I know this. When you lose, it feels awful. And that's probably one of the things that kept me out of coaching. You know, as good as those wins are, those losses are brutal. So from that standpoint, when you lose, you lose. Now, if you look at things as 5 years from now, you have to be realistic. You have to be realistic, too. You know, you can't be up and down so much based on results right now if what you're trying to do is establish a formation, a foundation. Does that make sense? You know, you can't say, okay, let's go control the things we can control and say we do that but we lose. You can't just go in the tank, right? Because the opponent maybe was better than you. You have to get some consistency in what you're asking and what the expectations are within your own program before you start worrying about the outside programs. We're not at the point right now to worry about whether it's Southern, whether it's Texas, whether it's Texas Tech. We're just learning ourselves what to do. So, you know, yeah, I mean, there's a major difference between winning and losing. But in the big picture of this, we have to know, and we have to know what our little victories are as we build this program.
Coach, what did Wyoming do effectively in the first quarter and a half?
Yeah, they got some big plays. You know, you know, Wyoming's pretty good. That quarterback's a good player, and they've got some good skill guys. They hung in there on defense. They had a couple big plays on offense. They hung in there on defense, and then Texas just kind of beat them down a little bit. You know, Texas didn't try to throw the ball down the field a lot. I expect them to try to launch it on us some and get some big plays. You know what they did? They just lined up and ran the ball mostly and pounded Wyoming. But Wyoming, that quarterback's a good player. I was impressed with their quarterback and their speed. You know, they've got some athletes. His weapons. What concerns me is he's a guy that's smart. He executes. He's athletic. I mean, he's big, strong, and athletic. But he gets the ball to those weapons, and they have a lot of them. You know, they've got a lot of speed at wide receiver. You'll see the receivers on a lot of the jet sweep stuff, where they bring little 26 Monroe, 84 across on the jet sweeps, and both those guys are like world-class sprinters, and just hand them the ball to the wide side of the field a lot. Shipley's a heck of a player. Those really three tailbacks are really good. Their offensive line's much improved. But he's athletic. He's athletic, and that concerns me the most with him. Tabana's not back. No, he is not practicing, not playing.
Two questions. Any updates on any of the suspensions from last week, timetable on that, and any new suspensions, anything we need to know about?
Man, you asked me that last night about these new suspensions. Yeah, no, you'll be the first to know. I don't, if something happens, I'll tell everybody at the same time, and I don't keep any of that in. We'll put it out there right away. Tabana's still suspended. I'm really researching what other people have done over the country with similar incidents. Maybe what's happened on this campus, maybe in different sports with different incidents. And I'm going to be fair about it. I'm taking my time. I'm looking as many of these cases as I can get that have happened in college football over the last year, 2 years. And then I'll make my decision. That's one piece of it. Then the second decision, how he handles it, how he handles this. He's been going to study hall while we've been at practice. So far, he's handled it pretty good. The other guys, Vega is indefinitely suspended. Who else is there? That's it. Rod Davis, we know, has one more game, and Fatu has 3 more games.
You talked about Chase Clay, got the award. Just kind of where you see, where he stands right now.
Yeah, first of all, he's really fast. I mean, he's a tall guy that can run. And if you watch him on kickoff coverage, he and Vershad Jackson, one of the young twins, number 3, and they were impressive running down that field now. They were speed and great effort. So Chase Clayton, his role right now is on special teams. But he did a heck of a job. I mean, he did get some great blocks on that, but he really did. I mean, to take that thing 98 yards and convert it, because they kicked the ball away from – we were wanting to return that right. But we automatic, because it was kicked to our left into a different return, and to get that communicated, he did a heck of a job with that. But he's a big, tall guy that I really like. We're going to have to try to find some ways to get his hands on the ball some more. It's so much of it is what we anticipate they're going to do on defense. But we've got a pretty broad package, and we've got a lot of different ways to come at you. It's a little bit more of what you anticipate them being schematically, what certain formations you may anticipate getting them into certain defenses. So, how that all means as far as showing more, it's more specific to how they play.
Coach, you tell us you're frustrated that they didn't do a lot of things. What are you telling them?
Same thing.
21. I mean, did they not do any? Were there things that you saw that you could encourage?
Oh, sure. I mean, we had 4 turnovers on defense. We scored twice on defense. We did a lot of really good things. It's just overall, you get frustrated in the second half, even though you have young guys in there, when it just doesn't look like they're coached the way they should be coached. I'm just being honest. I take responsibility for that. We've got to get every guy, again, with just a bank, a library of fundamentals, is here's how you play, and here's how you do things. And you just do it every time, regardless if the opponent's good, whether the opponent's bad. There's a lot of times before the ball snapped, and as the ball snapped, nobody's even collisioned you yet, or nobody's tried to run by you yet. You should be able to do those things exactly the right way, right? Nothing's happened yet. That's what frustrates me. Then once it starts, it's on you now, fundamentally. But there are things that we ought to be able to control as coaches that have nothing to do with that opponent, that I've kind of taken for granted, that we have to, the exactness of how you do things, the exactness of how you do things.
So if I had told you 259 on Saturday, it's going to be 66 to 21, would you have even thought that was
No. I mean, for us to go out there and score 66 points and score twice on defense, scoring a 98-yard kickoff return, I mean, No, I mean, all that's great, you know, and I mean, I do appreciate that. That's exciting to do all those things. But again, I've got a responsibility to look at it at the big picture. You know, people are excited with 66-21. I'm excited too, but I know we're just starting. We're just starting, and you feel a tremendous sense of urgency. I want to see people excited again. I want to see our team excited again. Well, if we're going to be excited again, we got to get a whole lot better, because I'm looking at that tape like Texas is looking at that tape. So does that make sense? I mean, that's all great. I'm not as result-oriented right now as what are we? What are we building? What are we building? What's our foundation? So that's what this whole process is.
You said you're expecting them to try to throw on you a little bit there. Talk about how important it will be to keep the pressure up front, like you guys were pretty decent.
Yeah, and you know, we were. You know, we created a little bit of havoc up front. I just expect them. The one thing they didn't do against Wyoming was throw the ball vertically down the field and have success doing it. I think if you're Mac Brown again and you're looking at the big picture of what they're doing, well, they're going to work on things against New Mexico that gives them a chance to beat Oklahoma and beat the other teams coming in their schedule. They probably feel a need to work on that. They watched us play. We gave up a couple big passes. So they're probably licking their chops. They're saying, well, you know, we think we can run it too. But I expect them to throw the ball down the field on us. You know, that's no secret.
A couple of those big passes were product of a very aggressive defense, though. Do you plan to play more safe?
No, I mean, the one to the tight end was a product of we totally busted and let the guy run up the field for no reason. That's coaching. That was just stupid. We let the tight end go. We had a young guy in the game. He didn't cover the tight end. The other one was a freshman corner in the game, true freshman. They ran a slant on us. And we had a young safety who was playing free safety that left the corner out there on his own. That was the two big passes in the game. You know, it wasn't so much schematic as it was fundamentals again, and maybe putting guys in situations they weren't ready for. You know, maybe the same could be said for putting Josh Baggin at the end of the game and keeping him in the shotgun center instead of just going under center and finishing the game out. Those are the things we should be able to control that we didn't do a great job of.
Coach, have any Texas A&M at Texas stories? What's it like for an opponent to go in there?
Got a lot of them. That was a great time in my life. You know, R.C. Slocum called me this morning. He said, "What the heck are you doing scheduling Texas?" was the first thing he said. But no, it's just that was a great time. I mean, those 9 years at A&M, and then the chance to play them 2 times at Notre Dame. I got tremendous respect for that place. I mean, when they play the Eyes of Texas in that stadium and just that atmosphere, you know, that's the Ohio State, Michigan, that's the Texas A&M. Those are great memories. That's a great place. And there's you know, Mac Brown's one of the nicest guys I've been around. There's some real guys there. So it's a great opportunity to go in there and play. And you know, what I remember most, you know, when Texas and Texas A&M played, you know, you're an hour and a half away. So you'd play away, and it was literally loading on the buses, you know, 4 hours before the game and driving over to Austin. And you're going through those country highways, and you've got all those people out there with their Aggie signs and the barns painted either Aggies or Longhorns, and tradition rich, you know, and then the Aggie band, the Longhorn band. And the thought that they're not playing is shocking to me. I mean, that is just, that's crazy that Texas and Texas A&M aren't playing.
You don't have the Eyes of Texas in your iPod, do you?
No. I got that Aggie war hymn, though. All right, guys, thank you.